Have you ever wondered what would happen if we chose love over hate? Imagine waking up each day with the idea that you might forgive the person who wronged you, rather than holding a grudge. Love has the power to change not just hearts, but entire communities. Today, we're exploring a timeless message that can transform our lives and the world around us, Jesus' call to love your enemies. This teaching may sound challenging or even impossible at times. After all, when someone hurts us, our instinct is to push back, to build walls, and to keep that person at a distance. But what if, instead of building walls, we built bridges? What if we reached out with compassion instead of retaliation? In a world filled with anger and division, this message is more important than ever. In today's video, we will delve into the depths of this profound teaching by Jesus. These teachings weren't just meant for those who lived thousands of years ago, they hold the same truth for us now. Loving our enemies means choosing a different path, a path that seeks understanding instead of vengeance and embraces kindness in the face of negativity. So, why should this matter to you? First, think about your own life. Have you ever found yourself in conflict with someone, whether it's a friend who betrayed you or a stranger who wronged you on the street? The bitterness can consume us if we let it. Yet Jesus taught us that loving our enemies doesn't mean agreeing with them or condoning their actions, it means freeing ourselves from the chains of hatred. As we move through this exploration together, prepare to uncover stories from the Bible where love triumphed over enmity. We'll talk about moments when Jesus showed incredible compassion in the face of hatred and when his actions challenged social norms. These stories are not just ancient tales, they are blueprints for how we can live our lives today. Remember, love is a choice. It requires courage and sometimes feels inconvenient. But it also brings peace, healing, and community connection where there was once division. If you stick with us throughout this journey, you'll gain insights that will not only inspire you but also empower you to make loving choices in your daily life. So sit tight. Let's dive deeper into what it truly means to love our enemies and how this simple yet powerful message can lead us to great transformation, both within ourselves and in our world. Are you ready? Let's begin. To understand the powerful message of loving your enemies, we need to take a closer look at the time and culture in which Jesus lived. Imagine being in ancient Judea over 2,000 years ago, a time filled with tension, conflict, and deep-rooted divisions. The land was under Roman occupation, and many groups were struggling for power and control. The everyday life of the people was shaped by political oppression and social unrest, creating an environment where conflict was everywhere. In this setting, there were various groups with differing beliefs and values. The Romans ruled with an iron fist, holding power over the Jewish people, who longed for freedom and independence. Among the Jews, there were also factions like the Pharisees and Sadducees, each with their interpretations of the law and different visions for society. Some people sought strict adherence to religious customs, while others embraced more progressive ideas. This upheaval led to a society fragmented by mistrust and rivalry. Now picture how challenging it must have been for someone like Jesus to come along and teach a message of love, especially toward those considered enemies. Loving your enemies in such a turbulent world was not just radical, it was revolutionary. Imagine hearing someone preach compassion toward the very oppressors who taxed you heavily or soldiers who mistreated your people. This teaching went against the instinct to fight back or seek revenge. Jesus' call to love was aimed at healing these divides. He urged his followers to step away from cycles of hatred and retaliation more common in their society. Instead of responding to anger with anger, he encouraged turning the other cheek, challenging his followers to look beyond their immediate grievances. This idea wasn't just about personal forgiveness, it was about transforming communities. In the midst of divisiveness, Jesus stood as a beacon of hope, sharing stories that illustrated his message of love. He told parables such as the Good Samaritan to demonstrate that compassion knows no boundaries, it can cross lines drawn by hate or prejudice. He practiced what he preached by showing kindness to outcasts and those others were quick to condemn. Understanding this historical context helps us see why Jesus' teaching resonates even today. It reminds us that love isn't just a feeling, it's an active choice we make in times of conflict and difficulty. As we reflect on these teachings, think about the divides we face in our own lives. How might choosing love over hate change our interactions with others? Join us as we delve deeper into how this timeless message can still inspire us to build bridges rather than walls in our own communities today. Let's uncover more about the impact of loving our enemies. As we dive deeper into Jesus' teaching of love your enemies, let's first explore what he truly meant by this powerful phrase. Love is often seen as a warm, fuzzy feeling, a gentle affection or fondness toward others. However, Jesus' definition of love goes much deeper than just emotions. It is about action, intention, and compassion, especially toward those who may oppose us or even hurt us. In the time of Jesus, love was not just reserved for friends and family, it was a call to see every person as worthy of respect and kindness, even those labeled as enemies. In other words, loving our enemies means choosing to act with goodwill toward someone who might not want the best for us. It's a brave decision that asks us to set aside anger and resentment to respond with compassion instead. To illustrate this, consider one of Jesus' most well-known parables, the Good Samaritan. In this story, we see how a Samaritan man takes action when he encounters a beaten traveler left for dead on the road. Despite the cultural animosity between Jews and Samaritans at that time, the Samaritan doesn't just feel sorry for the injured man, he goes out of his way to help him. He bandages his wounds and even pays for his care at an inn. This act of love was far beyond mere feelings, it was a demonstration of kindness in action. Jesus' teachings remind us that love is not merely about having warm feelings for others, it involves tangible actions that support and uplift. He called on his followers to demonstrate love through their deeds, like helping without expecting anything in return and showing kindness where it isn't warranted. This kind of love challenges us to rise above our instincts to retaliate or withdraw when faced with negativity. When Jesus said to love your enemies, he wasn't asking people to ignore their feelings or pretend everything is okay when it isn't. Instead, he invited them into a new perspective, one where individuals can extend grace and compassion, especially in tough situations. This leads to healing not only in personal relationships but also in communities that are often divided by anger or hatred. So how can we translate this message into our everyday lives? Think about someone you might view as an enemy or who has wronged you. Rather than resisting engagement or harboring resentment, consider what it would look like to respond with kindness or understanding. It may take courage, but remember that every small act of love can create ripples of change. As we continue our journey through this teaching, let's reflect on the power of actions backed by love and how they can transform not just ourselves but also the world around us. Are you ready to discover deeper insights? Let's keep going. Now that we've explored the meaning behind Jesus' teaching to love your enemies, let's look at some powerful examples from his life that illustrate this message in action. These stories not only show Jesus' remarkable capacity for love but also challenge us to embody the same spirit of compassion in our own lives. One of the most striking examples comes from the very moment of Jesus' crucifixion. Picture this: Jesus is nailed to a cross, suffering immense pain and humiliation. Instead of cursing his captors or seeking revenge, he utters a profound statement: "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This incredible act of love in the face of hatred demonstrates the essence of his teachings. Rather than letting anger consume him, Jesus chose forgiveness, offering grace even to those who inflicted suffering upon him. This radical response invites us to rethink how we react to those who hurt us. Another powerful story is found in the parable of the Good Samaritan, which Jesus shared to demonstrate what loving one's neighbor truly means. In this story, a traveler is attacked and left injured on the road. Many people pass by without offering help, including a priest and a Levite, who would have been expected to assist. However, it is a Samaritan, someone from a group historically viewed with disdain by the Jews, who stops and cares for the wounded man. He bandages his wounds and takes him to an inn, paying for his care. This story illustrates that love transcends social boundaries and prejudices. It compels us to help others, regardless of their background or how society views them. These examples remind us that love often requires courage and action. Jesus showed that loving enemies means taking tangible steps toward healing rather than remaining passive or indifferent in the face of hurt. He didn't just preach about love, he lived it out through his daily interactions with those around him, even those who opposed him. Moreover, consider how these stories challenge our perspectives in modern times. When we face conflict or disagreements with others, whether friends, family members, or even strangers, can we embody such compassion? Can we find ways to forgive those who wrong us? Jesus' life teaches us that it is not only possible but essential if we wish to create meaningful connections and foster peace. As we reflect on these examples from Jesus' life, think about how they can inspire you to act with love in your own life. What small steps can you take today to show kindness and compassion to someone you might view as an enemy? Join us as we continue uncovering how these timeless lessons can transform our hearts and communities. Let's explore further. As we think about the powerful message of loving our enemies, it's essential to ask ourselves how we can put this teaching into practice in our daily lives. This isn't just a nice idea, it's something we can actively work on, transforming how we relate to others, even those who may hurt us or oppose us. So, let's explore some practical applications that can help us embody this profound principle in real-life situations. First, consider conflicts that arise at school or work. Perhaps there's a classmate or coworker who often criticizes you or undermines your efforts. Instead of responding with anger or frustration, try approaching them with kindness. A simple act, like offering a compliment or finding common ground to discuss mutual interests, can shift the dynamic. It might surprise you to see how a small gesture of goodwill can break down barriers and create a more positive atmosphere. Another way to practice loving your enemies is by embracing forgiveness. Think of someone who has wronged you in the past, maybe a friend who betrayed your trust or a family member who let you down. Remember that forgiveness doesn't mean excusing their behavior, it means freeing yourself from the burden of carrying that pain. Write a letter expressing your feelings, even if you don't send it, as a way to process your emotions. Taking this step allows you to release negativity and make room for healing. In today's world, social media often amplifies hostility and division. If you encounter a person online whose views clash with yours, instead of engaging in a heated argument, try to respond with understanding. You could ask questions to learn more about their perspective rather than immediately dismissing it. By showing respect and curiosity, you model love in action, demonstrating that dialogue is possible even amid disagreement. Moreover, volunteering for community service can be another powerful way to express love toward those we might not normally connect with. Whether it's serving at a local shelter or participating in community cleanup events, these activities help bridge divides by showing compassion where it's needed most. When we contribute positively to our communities, we cultivate an environment where kindness flourishes, making it easier to practice love toward everyone. Also, think about how small acts of kindness can make a significant impact. Have you ever smiled at someone who seemed down? Or offered assistance to someone struggling? These seemingly simple actions send waves of love into the world around us and remind us that everyone has their battles. As we wrap up this section on practical applications, reflect on your own life. What opportunities do you have today to choose love over hate? How can you extend kindness and compassion even when it's difficult? The journey toward loving our enemies begins with small steps that ultimately lead us toward deeper connections and greater understanding. Let's carry these thoughts forward as we continue exploring how Jesus' teachings can inspire transformative change within ourselves and our communities. As we reflect on the powerful message of loving our enemies, it's important to recognize that this journey is not always easy. In fact, many of us face significant barriers that make it challenging to embrace love and compassion, especially toward those who have hurt us. Common feelings like anger and fear can often cloud our judgment and lead us away from the very love we wish to practice. So, how can we overcome these challenges? Let's explore some strategies that can help us navigate these difficult emotions. First, let's talk about anger. It's a natural response when someone has wronged us. But holding on to anger can be like carrying a heavy backpack. It weighs us down and prevents us from moving forward. One effective way to manage anger is through mindfulness. Take a moment to pause and breathe deeply when you feel anger rising. Ask yourself why you're feeling this way and what triggered it. Understanding the root of your anger can help you respond more thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another barrier we often face is fear of vulnerability, fear of being hurt again, or fear of rejection. This fear can create walls around our hearts, making it difficult to reach out to others, even those who may need our love the most. To overcome this fear, try to remember that opening your heart to love doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or allowing others to mistreat you. It's about choosing to rise above your fears and embracing empathy. Empathy allows us to see things from another person's perspective, helping us understand their struggles and motivations. When we empathize with others, it becomes easier to let go of our fear and respond with compassion instead. One practical tip is to engage in active listening. When someone expresses views that upset you or recounts their version of events that hurt you, take a moment to really listen without jumping to conclusions or defending yourself. Ask questions that show you're interested in understanding their side. This practice not only fosters connection but also helps dissolve the walls built by fear and anger. Moreover, reflecting on our shared humanity can be incredibly powerful. Remember that everyone has their struggles and insecurities, just like you do. By acknowledging that others are also navigating their own pain, it can soften your heart and make it easier to show love, even toward those who seem unlovable. Finally, surround yourself with positive influences, people who inspire you to be better and encourage you on your path of love. Share your feelings with trusted friends or mentors who can offer guidance and support as you work through these challenges. As we continue on this journey of loving our enemies, let's remind ourselves that overcoming barriers takes time and effort. It requires patience with ourselves and others. By practicing empathy and understanding, we can break down the walls that hold us back and open our hearts to the transformative power of love. Together, let's embrace this challenge and move closer to the love Jesus taught us. As we delve deeper into the powerful teaching of loving our enemies, it's crucial to recognize how this principle can create a ripple effect, leading to stronger communities. When individuals embrace love and compassion, even toward those they see as adversaries, the outcome can be transformative, not just for themselves but for everyone around them. Let's explore some inspiring examples of how this teaching has led to positive change in various communities. One remarkable example is found in the story of South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC. After decades of apartheid, a system built on racial division and injustice, South Africa faced a choice: to remain divided by bitterness or to heal through understanding. The TRC brought together victims and perpetrators of violence during the apartheid era, encouraging open dialogue about their experiences. Many individuals chose to confront their enemies with compassion rather than anger, sharing their stories and seeking forgiveness. This courageous approach to healing helped rebuild trust in a nation that had been torn apart by hatred. The TRC exemplifies how embracing love, even toward those who have caused deep pain, can lead to national healing and unity. Another powerful illustration comes from the work of the Forgiveness Project, an organization that shares true stories of forgiveness from around the world. One story involves a woman named Kim Phuc, famously known as Napalm Girl, who survived a horrific attack during the Vietnam War. After years of pain and suffering, she chose to forgive her enemies, the soldiers who caused her injuries. Her journey toward forgiveness not only transformed her life but also inspired many others affected by conflict to embrace love over resentment. By sharing her story, Kim has encouraged countless individuals to seek healing through forgiveness and compassion. We can also look at grassroots movements within local communities where people have chosen love over division. For instance, imagine neighborhoods where individuals come together after incidents of hate or violence. Instead of letting anger fester, they organize community dialogues or peace marches that celebrate diversity and promote understanding among different groups. These events allow people to confront biases head-on while fostering connections that may not have existed otherwise. Love becomes a unifying force that helps bridge gaps between cultures and beliefs. Additionally, consider how acts of kindness can spark change on smaller scales, like when neighbors help one another during tough times or when strangers come together to support local causes. These moments build trust and create bonds that strengthen community ties. As we reflect on these examples, it becomes clear that loving our enemies isn't merely an abstract idea, it's a practical action that can transform our society for the better. By choosing love over hate, we pave the way for understanding, healing, and ultimately, stronger communities. So as we move forward in this journey together, think about how you might apply this principle in your own life. How can you be a force for positive change within your community? Let's continue exploring how Jesus' teachings inspire us all to make a difference through love. As we explore the profound effects of loving our enemies, let's turn our attention to inspiring personal stories that demonstrate how this principle can transform lives. These testimonials serve as powerful reminders of the true impact of compassion and understanding, showcasing how individuals have chosen love even in the face of adversity. One remarkable story comes from a man named John, who once held deep resentment toward a former business partner. After years of hard work together, he felt betrayed when his partner decided to take all the profits from their joint venture, leaving John in financial ruin. Instead of allowing bitterness to consume him, John decided to confront his feelings through forgiveness. He reached out to his former partner, not with anger, but with empathy. In their conversation, John learned about the personal struggles his partner faced that influenced his decisions. This openness created an unexpected bond. By choosing to love rather than hate, John not only released himself from the weight of anger but also restored a friendship he thought was lost forever. Another touching example is the story of Maria, a woman who grew up in a neighborhood plagued by gang violence. She lost a loved one to gang-related crime, which filled her with grief and hatred toward those she believed were responsible. However, Maria experienced a life-changing moment during a community peace rally where she met some former gang members seeking redemption. Listening to their stories of regret and transformation opened her heart. Instead of reacting with hostility, Maria chose to advocate for peace and healing in her community. Her journey toward forgiveness allowed her to channel her pain into constructive action, organizing youth programs that guided at-risk children away from violence. This decision not only transformed Maria's life but also inspired many others to seek understanding rather than revenge. Then we have the incredible journey of Anthony, whose brother was murdered. Facing the anger and despair that naturally followed such a tragedy, Anthony struggled deeply with his feelings toward the killer. Through therapy and support groups, he learned about the power of forgiveness. Rather than letting hatred dictate his life, Anthony took a bold step. He wrote a letter to his brother's murderer, expressing his pain but also his desire for understanding and peace. This act of bravery brought him peace and allowed him to move forward without the burden of resentment. These stories reveal that loving our enemies often leads to unexpected transformations, not just within ourselves but in our communities as well. The choice to extend love and forgiveness can heal personal wounds and inspire others to do the same. As you reflect on these testimonials, think about your own life. Who might you need to extend love toward? What changes could result from adopting this mindset? Remember that embracing this teaching is not only about personal growth, it has the potential to ripple outward, positively influencing those around you. Let's keep exploring this transformative power of love as we continue our journey through Jesus' teachings. As we continue our journey through the teachings of Jesus, it's time to pause and reflect on our own lives. Loving our enemies is a powerful concept, but it requires deep self-examination and honesty about our feelings and relationships. So, let's take a moment to think about the people we may consider enemies or those with whom we have unresolved conflicts. Who comes to mind when you think of someone you struggle to love? It might be a coworker who undermines you, a friend who betrayed your trust, or even a family member with whom you've had a falling out. Acknowledging these feelings is the first step toward understanding how to approach them with love. Now, let's ask ourselves some important questions. What emotions do you feel when you think about this person? Is it anger, frustration, or sadness? Recognizing these feelings can help identify what barriers might be preventing you from extending love or forgiveness. Ask yourself, what specific events led to these feelings? Understanding the context can provide clarity and help you see things from a different perspective. Next, consider how holding onto these negative feelings impacts your life. Do they weigh you down or affect your relationships with others? Sometimes, the burden of hostility can seep into various aspects of our lives, making it harder to connect with those around us. Imagine what it could feel like to release that burden. How would your life change if you chose to respond with love instead? Now, think about the possibility of forgiveness. What would it look like for you to choose compassion over resentment? This doesn't mean you have to condone their actions or forget what happened. It means acknowledging your pain and deciding not to let it define you. Can you take a small step towards understanding this person better? Perhaps reaching out for a conversation or simply reflecting on their perspective could open a path forward. Consider also the impact that your actions could have on others. When you choose to love rather than hate, you not only change yourself but also influence those around you. How might your willingness to extend love and forgiveness inspire others in your community? This ripple effect can create an environment where kindness and understanding flourish. Finally, let's reflect on the lessons we've learned from Jesus' life and teachings. He faced incredible adversity yet chose love every time. How can we embody that spirit in our own interactions? Allow these reflections to guide you toward action, perhaps by writing a letter expressing your thoughts or taking steps to mend a relationship. As we move ahead, keep this self-assessment in mind. By actively engaging with these questions and reflecting on your relationships, you empower yourself to live out the teaching of loving your enemies. Together, let's embrace this challenge and continue exploring how these principles can lead us toward personal transformation and deeper connections in our communities. As we come to the end of our exploration of Jesus' profound teaching to love your enemies, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've shared together. Throughout this video, we've uncovered the transformative power of love, compassion, and forgiveness. These principles are not just lofty ideals, they are actionable steps that can lead us to personal healing and community unity. Jesus' message was revolutionary in his time and remains just as crucial today. In a world filled with division, anger, and misunderstanding, choosing to love those who oppose us is an act of courage. It's a choice that challenges us to rise above our instincts for retaliation and instead embrace empathy and understanding. Each story we've shared today, from the parable of the Good Samaritan to the personal testimonials of individuals like John, Maria, and Anthony, demonstrates how love in action can create ripples of change that extend far beyond ourselves. Now, let's consider what this means for us personally. Loving our enemies doesn't mean we have to agree with them or condone their actions. It means recognizing their humanity and choosing compassion over resentment. It requires us to examine our own hearts and confront feelings that may be holding us back from deeper connections. So, I invite you to take action. Think about someone in your life whom you find difficult to love. Maybe it's a coworker, a friend who has hurt you, or even a family member with whom you've had conflicts. Reflect on how you might respond differently by choosing kindness or forgiveness. Could you reach out with an open heart? Could you find common ground where there seems to be none? As we move forward from this moment, let's commit ourselves to practicing love more deeply in our everyday lives. Perhaps write down specific actions you can take this week: a kind word, a gesture of support, or simply being present for someone who needs it. Remember that every small act contributes to a larger tapestry of compassion in our communities. Let's also encourage one another on this journey. Share your experiences with friends or family members. Talk about the challenges you face in loving others and the victories when you choose love over hate. When we support each other, we amplify the message that Jesus taught, a message that has the power to heal wounds and bring people together. In conclusion, as we seek to embody Jesus' teachings in our lives, let's remember that love is not just a feeling but an active choice. Choose love every day, embrace forgiveness when it feels impossible, and watch how it transforms not only your heart but also the hearts of those around you. Together, let's make this world a more compassionate place through the simple yet profound act of loving our enemies. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let's continue to spread love wherever we go.